Hey, it's Vaz here from Metro Hobbies, and today we're going to be looking at an old favorite from HPI. This is the Savage XL, an absolutely awesome beast with a new color scheme, so let's break it down and take a closer look at it. Okay, so as always, we need to have a look at the smaller stuff first that we get in the box. Of course, you get the truck fully assembled and ready to go. You get the radio, and you get a whole bunch of other little bits and pieces. Now, in one of the bags that you get, there is quite a number of things in here. I'll just move this out of the way. There are some foam blocks that you can put in the actual battery trays to kind of pack up some smaller packs. These battery trays are actually quite generous in size, so they give you some blocks in there to pack that up. There's also some extra padding, which is really nice. You get a nice little aluminium tool to take out wheel nuts and to work on some of the screws in the truck, which is good to have. They even give you 4 AA's for the transmitter. You don't get to see this a lot with some of these bigger cars, so really nice that they include that. Now, there are some spare hardware, some shims, some cross pins. They even give you a spare wheel nut in case you lose one, which is really good. Spare body pins, little nuts, just some spare bits and bobs. And then in here, there's also some spare components as well for the car. So we've got some, I believe there could be like shock rod ends. There's a spare shock spring retainers, which is really good. Some spare servo horns, preload spacers for your shock, so you can actually adjust the shock tension on the truck. A whole spare body post, which is really cool. So they actually did a really good job at including some spares, which you don't get with a lot of other RTR vehicles. So this is a big plus for something like this. And then, of course, you get the all-important user manual where you have some stickers included. There are some blown-up pictures in here as well and so forth. I'll actually open this up as well and give you all a bit of a peek as to what is included. So let's have a look here real quick. There's your sticker sheet. I mean, who doesn't like stickers, right? We have this little guy which kind of allows you to kind of interact a little bit more on their website, which is kind of cool. There's information regarding the radio, how to work the radio, how to set it up, what all the buttons do, where the batteries go, all that type of basic information. This is important information regarding, I think, it came with one of the other cars as well. This is just like warranty procedures and things like that. And then, of course, the all-important user manual, which I know a lot of you like to use as bedtime reading. But it is quite elaborate and gives you a lot of useful information regarding maintenance, explosive use, part numbers, how to set the car up, how to work on charging batteries, how to work on the radio. All of these sorts of things are included in the manual. Always make sure to hang on to this one, put it in a safe place, because if something does go wrong, all the part numbers and everything will be listed in there for when you want to get some spare parts. And now, of course, for the radio itself, which I have showcased here on the channel before, some reverse switches at the front here, collapsible antenna, on and off switch down the back, and a really, really nice feel in the hand with a beautiful drop down wheel on there as well. Runs on 4 AA's underneath, and there's a little tool over here that you can just pull out and adjust your end points along the top there. So a really nice radio, very well equipped, good weighted trigger as well. And then, of course, you've got your steering dual rates up here. There's a throttle trim, steering trim, bind button, and a third channel button rather, that is currently not hooked up to anything in particular, but you can always make that work later on. So that is the radio itself. Now let's move on to the truck. Okay, so now for the main event, the truck itself. And what a beautiful color scheme that HPI have gone with here. This has a beautiful matte finish on the body. All the stickers are matte finished as well. I really like the sort of army green that they've gone with here. It gives a real tough sort of military look to the truck, something that we don't see a lot of in ready-to-run vehicles. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the body and the color scheme that they've gone with this time around. Looking forward to seeing how that body holds up over time. Now, for the truck itself, here it is in all its magnificent glory, the twin vertical plate chassis, also known as TVP chassis, and there is the underside shot just there. Now, I'm pretty sure that pretty much everybody out there knows what the Savage is all about, but for the 3 of you watching that probably haven't seen one of these before, I'll go through some of the features. We'll start with the tyres. I think the rubber compound on this car has been improved since the previous versions. The rubber actually feels nice and grippy. It doesn't feel too hard like I remember feeling it in some of the previous Savage trucks. So nice to see that they've probably made some improvements here. I think these tyres might actually hold up pretty well. Suspension wise, I've got to say it's got a little bit more rebound than I would like, but that just means that the truck is really more set up for bashing. It's set up for jumping and really taking on that gnarly terrain. So I think that's actually not too bad considering the style of truck, and also keeping in mind that we don't have batteries in here at the moment, so it may slow down that rebound effect that I'm feeling at the moment when you've got a little bit more weight in here. As I got my hands on the bumpers actually feel pretty good. I don't think they've really changed the design of the bumpers too much, but they have held up in the past, and I think these ones are going to be doing just as good a job as before. Shock towers are plastic, but to my knowledge, I really don't remember hearing too many complaints about shock towers on these trucks in the past. You do have adjustable body posts on here as well, which means that if you want to save that body and actually put on a different body for your bashing sort of sessions, you can adjust these to suit, which is a really nice touch. The shocks themselves are big box shocks. They have a twin spring system, which is kind of nice, and they also have preloads already on there. And as I mentioned earlier, you do have preload spacers, so you can adjust the tension of the springs, and then of course you can always tune the shock oil to your liking as well. Moving internally, we have a receiver box here, which I believe is water sealed. So this truck should be waterproof, or at least splash proof, so you shouldn't be too scared to run through the odd puddle or maybe some wet grass here and there. I wouldn't go as far as swimming with the thing, but you should be okay to run through some moisture without frying your electrics. On and off switch for the ESC is a push button one, which I really like. I've had several vehicles, I've got several vehicles at the moment that have the slider switch, and you take a bit of a gnarly jump, or you take a bit of an impact or a cartwheel, and the switch can slide off and turn your truck off, and then of course you got to do the walk of shame and go out there and turn it back on. So really nice to see these more modern ESCs come with an on and off push button switch, so it's unlikely that it will accidentally turn itself off. The ESC is 150 amp, the motor is a 2200 kV. I believe that these are rebranded Hobbywing electrics. The motor looks very reminiscent of a Max 8 motor. The ESC looks like a quick run ESC, and then of course this is connected up with some Dean's plugs, which I gotta say, it would have been nice to see these with some bigger connectors, maybe some XT90s or EC5s, but Dean's, at least I think they give you genuine Dean's with these, so they should hold up okay, especially if you're only running 4S. If you're going to go the 6S route, I would probably recommend maybe swapping those out for some bigger plugs. And then we've got all steel gears through the center here with a slipper clutch that is adjustable as well, and that of course is matched on to a transfer gear case that goes down to some really beefy thick drive shafts underneath the truck that drive your front and rear diffs. Now the drive shafts at the front and rear look to be about 5mm thick, so these are nice and beefy drive shafts, which is really nice to see. Beefy A-arms as well, both front and rear, and you have adjustable turnbuckles both front and rear there for you to make your adjustments and your toe adjustments on there. Battery trays, very generous size, as I said earlier, which is why they give you those foam blocks for you to pack in your battery so they don't slide around in there too much. And they have this really cool clip system that allows you to sort of very easily open the battery tray without too many hassles, and you can see just how big those battery compartments are in there. Although I will say that the hole that they've allowed for the cables to come through may need a little bit of trimming on the side here, just because if you're going to go with the bigger connectors, you may need to trim that just so that your connectors can come through, because it looks as though that might be a little bit small. It might be ideal for your Deans, but for some slightly bigger plugs you may need to do a little bit of trimming on the side of the actual battery tray there. So I'll quickly put this back into place. There we go. All right, just like that. And then of course you've got your servo mounted on just underneath here. It does have a plastic servo horn on there, which I think is fine, because that looks to be a different grade plastic to some of the other components. You can always upgrade that to aluminium if you wish. And that pretty much wraps up the overall look of this truck and what my initial thoughts of it are. I think this is fantastic. It's really good to see HPI making a comeback, especially bringing back the HPI Savage XL, which is, I guess, their halo car. It's been around for so long. It's just a staple in every sort of basher's fleet, and it's available, in a nitro version as well, especially back in the late 90s, early 2000s. The Savage is is a name that's known around the world through or from HPI. Really nice to see this one come back on the shelves. Okay, so that wraps up this video of the HPI Savage XL. Thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the video description down below for links to the truck, as well as all the relevant links to batteries and chargers and so forth. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way out and leave a comment if you have something to say or any questions that you want to ask. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll be speaking to you all next time.